Do you know what your problem is? You're so used to being the nice guy, the person that everyone likes. You say the right things at the right time. You don't hurt anyone's feelings. You're the person that everyone loves to be around. But the reality is that you don't like being around yourself. You sit down wondering why you are the way that you are. You beat yourself down. You have this low self-esteem and you question every single day, why do I feel like this? Because you are trying to keep everyone else happy at the expense of your own. Now, there's a difference between being the nice guy and being a kind guy. And the moment I transitioned from being a nice guy to a kind guy, my life completely changed. For the very simple reason that I was someone who grew up being the insecure kid. I was the one who never felt like he was enough. And I didn't want any unneeded attention onto me, especially if someone was talking bad to me, because I really didn't feel like I was worthy. Now, I just wanted to feel accepted. I wanted to be a part of something. And then one thing I didn't realize is that every time I was trying to conform and shape shift myself around people, I didn't have a shape. And that's why I didn't know who I was. The thing is, being kind is telling people what they need to hear. Being kind is being that person that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And then there's an illustration. I don't know if you believe in the Bible, Jesus Christ. Now, everyone loves Jesus Christ now. But back then, no one liked Jesus Christ. He only had 12 followers with him, and one of them betrayed him. Now, imagine now the amount of impact that he makes. But back then, in that present moment, you have to imagine everyone was going against him. Everyone hated him. But he was just pure love. He was perfect. He was just going around speaking so much facts that he hurt everyone's feelings because he stood his own ground. He didn't care about what anyone else thought. He didn't care if he wasn't accepted or not. He was only accepted by 12. And not even 12, he was accepted by 11. But the only person he cared about being accepted by was one. And that was God. And that's a true source. That's a source of love. And that's the only person that you need to fear. And that you have to be your true and authentic self. And what is your true authentic self? Just listen to the call of your conscience. And your conscience will tell you every single time what you need to say, what you don't need to say, because it's always giving that notification. Oh, why did I say that? Why didn't I do this? Your consciousness is your true direct voice from God. It is your natural connection with the source, is your natural connection with the one above. Why? Because it's constantly giving the notifications, which most of the time feel uncomfortable, but the moment you do it, how alive do you feel? How alive do you feel that every time that you listen to it, it's just like, fuck, that's what I needed to hear. And everything that you do is a filter system. Every time that you might say something, you're afraid of being you because you're afraid of ending that friendship or hurting someone else's feeling. Well, it was never real to begin with. Why are you so afraid of someone's opinion that you don't even want to be like? Why are you so afraid of hurting someone's opinion with the truth? And that's why I always say weak people want to be comforted with a lie and strong people want to be offended with the truth. Why? Because it allows you where to grow. And I don't want to be around yes men. And I was a yes man. And I wouldn't want to be around myself because I want to grow. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm the same person for the rest of my life. Life is about progression. Life is about growth. Everything is movement. So why are you not moving? That's why everyone feels so stuck, because they are stuck. Because the only way you can grow is being around people that are just constantly challenging you. And before, I used to think people challenging me was someone that was envious of me, someone that didn't like me. But the contrary, people that challenge you want you to grow. And it's crazy because I grew up in a Latin household predominantly. And I remember that I was always around my mum, and like my ego took me a long time to accept this, but my mother would always challenge me and tell me, don't do this. And I used to be so frustrated being around my mother, like, why do you have to tell me to do this? Why do I have to do that? But in reality, all she wanted me to do was grow. And the people that just stayed stuck, the people that didn't want to grow, would always complain, why are you judging me? No, you're not being judged. Is that you're just so afraid to take the action that you view it as judgment because you are just choosing to stay mediocre. And that's what most people will live the rest of their life like, realizing that they had so much more potential. And I was that person. The truth is that I was so afraid to tap in and be me. And there was a quote that I didn't really understand, and it took me so many years to, that your deepest fear is not that you're inadequate. Your deepest fear is that you are powerful beyond measure. And you know what that means? That when you start tapping in and truly being you, that so many people are going to feel insecure. They will start to look at you different, treat you different. And that is okay. Because you are not meant to dim your light down to get to the level of others. No, that's being selfish. You need to rise high. You need to stay up high and allow people to get to your level to show them that they can grow. If you stay low, you're being selfish because you don't grow. And then when you realize, then you'll be blaming everyone else for why you stay stuck. But there was no one else to blame but yourself. There was no one else to blame but yourself. That's why I encourage everyone to challenge yourself every single day. Audit yourself. Like, audit the last 30 days. What have you been doing? What do you want? And I don't care what you say. Show me what you do, because that's what you truly want. Most people just live the life of the average and will live a most average life. And that is my biggest fear. Just realizing that the way I admire people who just tap in and fully just dive deep into to specialize as a human. Just think about it. Like, there's firefighters, there's footballers, there's swimmers, there's runners, there's mechanics, there's so many different types of people. But the thing is, they just so focused and they grew so much in one area that they became great. And to become great at one thing, you just have to go through an immense amount of pain. And that's what most people don't want to do. That's why so many people are just good at so many different things, but they don't specialize in anything because it's going to be painful. But the beauty of being a human is that if there is a firefighter, if there's a mechanic, if there's a footballer, if there's an artist, it means that you can be any of those. But the difference between that person and you is that they focused everything on one thing. They went through the headaches, they went through the heartaches, but you just want to do everything surface level, that you're good at something. The moment it gets hard, you go on to the next thing. A jack of all trades is a master of none. And that's what most of the time you are. And I was that person. I was naturally gifted and naturally good at so many different things. But the moment I had to focus on being good at one thing, no, a headache here, oh, I don't understand this, and I didn't want to accept that I was bad, which is why you will stay bad for the rest of your life, because most of you think you're better than what you actually are. And the moment you become great is once you sit down with that pain and realize that I want to be good at this. That's the moment I started to grow in this. I was someone who always knew he was ambitious, someone who was embarrassed of being ambitious, just in case I didn't make it work. Then no pain will fall onto me because no one knew I was ambitious. But the moment I put it out there, I started to put pressure on myself, because now I'm putting my words out there. And that's why I can promise you, and I speak with so much dignity and so much conviction, that I know that I will hit months where I will make $85,000 per month. I will hit months where I will make $200,000 per month. I will hit months where I will make $1 million in a single month. And why do I speak about that? It's not about the money. Everyone thinks about, oh, but I need money, I want to make money. You can make money doing everything, but you have to become the person that can get the money. And how do you do that? Is by helping people, by managing to give back in a certain area. So you have to specialize in something. You have to go through a certain amount of heartaches. The bigger problem you solve, the more money you make. The thing is, everyone's like, I want to make money, I don't have money. No, it's because you are not the person capable of making it happen. The problem was never the thing. The problem was always you. And the problem isn't even you, it's the choices that you are making. Why? Because the way that you think about it, the way that you think is your operating system. Why do you think I'm recording this video? Why do you think I can move my hand? Because first, it was a signal from my mind to move this. I am blessed that I have the capacity to think for myself. You have the capacity to think for yourself, but most of the time you don't even think for yourself. Most of the time you just do things because you were told that you have to do things a certain way. And I was that person. I would just do things because I was taught that way, because I grew up that way. And it's just like, you need to ask yourself, why do I believe the things that I believe? And if you don't know why, that isn't your belief. Like, why do you do certain things? And for me, it was small, stupid shit. Like, I remember that this morning I was cleaning plates and I was thinking about cleaning a sponge, because my dad would clean a sponge. And I'm thinking, why am I going to clean a sponge when I could just buy a new sponge? And why did my dad do that? Because he probably got passed down onto him. Why? Because from a scarcity mindset. And I don't blame him. But they get to a point where you have to just question things and grow from it. Because back then, there wasn't the abundance of information that we have today. Most people complain, oh, I don't have the resources. You have a fucking phone. You have the internet. You have access to so much things that most people don't have, that most people didn't have back then. My dad had to pay over $8,000 for a simple piece of information that I can ask ChatGPT in 2 minutes, and you're complaining about resources. You're just making yourself feel better for being lazy. And I just want to sit here and speak to you about something that most of you guys complain about for not seeing the results for the work that you ain't putting in. There is no one else to blame but yourself. And that's why I wanted to sit here, because I want you to realize the amount of power and the amount of greatness that every single human has in them. But most people just choose to accept less. Most people just choose to settle for less. Why? Because they're afraid of taking risks, because they want a guarantee. If I do this, this is going to happen. There is no guarantee in this life. And I've said this so many times. You have to just believe in yourself. Most of you don't believe in yourself because you're thinking with logic that there's going to be a point of time when from here to here. No, it's up and down like everything. You go good, you go bad, but it's just a consistency. It's how long can you play in this game? How long can you stay in the race? That's why they say life is a marathon. Most of you haven't even run a marathon. Most of you aren't even in shape. So how do you expect to create good things, great things, if you can't even create a great you? It's never going to happen, because you are the person that's going to create those great things. I've run a marathon. I've run 10 in a month. Now, let me tell you what I've learned from running a marathon. That when you run, you can't lie to anyone else. Motivation, manifestation, that shit ain't going to work. You rely just on discipline. Everything is going to start to tell you to stop. all of those doubts, all of those pains. But guess what? There are other people running the marathon. So why can they do it and you can't? That's the moment I realized that, how bad do you want it? And that's when you decide to put one foot in front of the other. Can you put one foot in front of the other? Yes. The thing is, most people try to think too far ahead, trying to think of next week's problem when they haven't even got through today's. Once you focus on putting one foot in front of the other, once you focus on becoming an action taker, then the path illuminates as you walk it. I could never sit down and tell you that I was going to live full time on my personal brand while I was working in retail. That was my biggest problem. I wanted a guarantee before I ever left anything. That's why I never grew. That's why 5 years later, I was still in the same situation. I was 5 years old. I hit 25 years old, sitting down on the single bed at my mother's house, crying. No career path, no university degree. I said, no one ain't going to save me. No one's coming to save me. I have to save myself. That's why you need to have faith. Faith, you say you believe in God. Now, where is the faith? Knowing that he's going to clarify everything. All you have to do is to drive. But most people say, if God willing, but you ain't driving. God has given you the vehicle. God has given you the key. You have a full tank of gas. You just have to drive. But you don't even want to drive. I'm too afraid because I don't know if I go from here, a car's going to come in front of me and run me over. Get to that point. I don't see the car running you over. How many times have you thought of a scenario where you thought it's going to go worst case scenario and it never actually happened? You were suffering here all along. Fear is what's holding you prisoner. Familiarity is what's going to get rid of fear. But you ain't even been familiar with any case because you're just thinking. Thinking isn't doing, my friend. Doing is doing. And doing is going to take you one step closer. Where is the action? And that's what most of you lack. And that's what I want you to realize today. That today is the only day that exists. Tomorrow doesn't exist. And this tomorrow that you're so afraid about is created what you do today. Yesterday doesn't exist. We ain't going that way. So what are you choosing to do? And that's why I tell you every single day, create and fortify the person that can keep on going. Create a person who's consistent. Create a person who's resilient. And it's going to be a battle. It ain't going to be easy. You're waiting for it to feel like sunshine and rainbows. Waiting for it to feel easy where you don't have any friction. You're always going to feel friction. That's your problem. You're waiting for it to feel natural. Natural is keeping you where you are. And you don't like it. So choose one thing. Increase sacrifice. You work slightly harder. You suffer a bit more now. Oh no, but you got to take it easy. Who's telling you to take it easy? You're not where you want to be yet. Oh, but someone's telling me to, do you want to be like them? Be like them, take it easy. You don't have to do anything. You don't need to have that result. You can stay average. Most people want to stay average. Don't complain about it. Don't ever complain about it. Or you can have decreased desire. Or you can stay average. Accept average. And if you want to be average, if you want to work for someone else, if you want to stay stuck being a slave for someone else, not having the freedom, then you're successful. That's what you wanted. And the actions that you're doing, that's taking you there. That's what you want. Don't complain. You need to understand that everything that I'm telling you is from a place of love. I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you unfollow me. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. How far has your feelings taken you? Your feelings don't care about you. You think they do. They don't. I'm tired of being someone who's emotional. I'm tired of being someone who always listens to their emotions because that hasn't taken me anywhere. That hasn't helped me succumb and amount to anything. I was a child for a very long time. Oh, I feel sad. Sadness. I like what sadness feels like. You got to stop being responsible for your decisions. Sad, angry, tired, broke. Do it anyway. Because down the line, you are going to thank yourself for it. You want to help the people around you? Be the person. I don't ever want to be a warning to the people around me. I want people to look at me an example. Oh, this guy went through hardships and he still went through. You know why? Because I have a point of reference. You know the first person who ever broke the world record for the first mile in 4 minutes? The first time he done it, then a couple of weeks later someone else done it, and then from then everyone else done it. You just need to know that it's possible. There is everyone showing you that it's possible. Now you just have to show yourself and put the reps in. Put the hard work in. You can't lie to yourself. Stop waiting for it to feel easy. That shit ain't never going to feel easy. There's going to be a day where you're going to have to bite the bullet. And I hope that time is soon. Because you're young today. You can move today. Your excuses that you have this, that you have time, you have responsibilities, you have this. There will never be a right time. That's a decision that you have to make. Decide now or live the rest of your life with regret and never complain. That's something I want to tell you guys today. Just finished a 5K run, which I didn't want to do. Now we're about to go do our Muay Thai session in around half an hour. That being said, that is Sunwa. Put down in the comment section below, what was your biggest takeaway? I just literally put my phone up here and I just wanted to speak to you guys from the heart. With that being said, if you haven't liked, comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. Love you guys. Let's go. As you already know, we don't miss.